Thank you. We've got a couple of guests here tonight, but I just want to make an announcement for anybody that hasn't heard by now that our former fiscal officer, and not only that, he was served on our zoning commission, served on our zoning board of appeals for many, many years. Fred May passed away about 9 days ago. Fred contributed a lot over the years to the township. Kind of unfortunate the way things ended around here, but I can say for myself that we were certainly rooting for him to get his ducks back in a row and come back to be a contributing member of the community, if not the township itself. Good man, don't miss him.
I didn't know Fred that well. I mean, I met him at the tail end here, and from what I did see, there was no question he was a very good person with a very serious problem. And I'm also very sorry, tragic the way that ended.
I do want to mention, my family's known his family for years, and best wishes to his mother and ex-wife and the 2 kids. Of course, the son was up there cleanup day with us the day before. So, yeah, kind of a tragedy.
Yeah, Fred was good. I enjoyed working with Fred. I mean, he started here probably a year or two after I did, and said he had some problems toward the end, but he did a lot, and he did a good job for many years. And again, he did it with, which probably didn't help, is he never asked for any help, which is, as Dan will tell you with this job, and the things that he possibly couldn't keep up with, is you can't do it by yourself. When we finally got Dan to help him out and to start get it together, I miss Fred. He was an interesting guy.
Okay, we've got a couple of guests here tonight. Don Rice is here. Superintendent Don Rice. That's my side.
I'm gonna step over here so I can see everybody. Is that okay? Is that okay with you guys?
It's okay.
Where have you
Thank you
been?
for having me. We try to get out every year, other than COVID years, but we try to get out every year and let people know what we're doing, who we're serving, and answer any questions you have. Last year we served 1,100 plus people, which is our biggest year ever. Our youngest starts off, if you have somebody who you know, and I guess the statement around our place is, people don't really know much about us until they need us. And then they know, and really what we want is, if you have somebody who needs us, at least you know who to call. You can call me. Yeah, my number, the number on the bottom of the page is the main number. If you call and ask for Don, I'm the only Don there. They're going to get a hold of me. And so we'll get the help that we can to whoever needs it. We don't always know when somebody has a child born with a delay. Oftentimes it'll come through the doctor's offices, other times it may not. If you know of somebody who has a child with a delay, who lives in Geauga County, give us a call. We have speech therapists, OTs, PTs, developmental specialists. We'll actually come into the family's home, or wherever the family wants us to come. Sometimes it's wherever the child might be going for daycare, or nursery school, or whatever the case is. But we'll come in and work with them to help whatever needs to be addressed. 50% of the time it's a speech delay. So the child isn't speaking properly. And if we can bring somebody along and we can adjust that, normally that child's going to be just fine in school. It's something that's our real goal. And we're successful at least 50% of the time. Other times it corrects itself as they age throughout school, but we'll still bring things along and work with the schools. We help families who have children in schools who need respite, just a break. They're busy taking care of kids and other things like that, and they have a special needs, and maybe they need a break. So we offer respite care and some of those other supports that they might need. We're really proud of the fact that recently, starting since 2013, we've really made employment one of our main goals. It also helps in the fact that right now, you can get a job pretty easily. If you want a job, there's help wanted signs a lot of places. But we have about 185 people who are actually employed in the community, instead of being in workshops somewhere. We've changed our focus, and We're really proud of the fact that when you go to a lot of the grocery stores, if you go out to some of the restaurants, if you go to some of the factories or other things like that around, you'll see our folks. They're busy working, they're doing jobs, and that's really a great thing from our point of view. At the same time, just like everybody else, the help wanted signs, we have a problem with necessarily finding people to provide care for our folks. If you know somebody who wants a job, we can probably help them find a job. Because we have help wanted signs, we have a lot of different things. If somebody has a desire to work with special needs folks, we can certainly find a way to how to fit right into the system if that's something that you're interested in. I like to tell everybody, we thank you for your levy support. 80+% of our income is from our local levy. If we don't have them, we can't serve anybody. The amount, like you guys and the trustees know, the amount coming from the state gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Less than 10% of what we get comes from the state, less than 10% of what we get comes from the feds. 80-some% comes from our local levy. Like I said, without it, there's no chance that we'd serve anybody. So I want to thank the public for their support. We are not running a levy. We are not on the ballot. You won't see us on until probably 2025, maybe 2026, something like that. We're trying to stretch it out as far as we can stretch it out. Like everything, inflation goes up and it eats away what you have. And so we're doing the best we can and serving the people that we can. What can I answer questions for?
Quick question here, is 2 Cafe involved in yours as well?
2 Cafe is one of what we call a private provider. Yeah, they work with our folks.
Well, my wife frequents there, and she
Okay.
said this has got to be the job department disabilities group.
So we helped them get them started. They are now switching down into Chagrin Falls. They're going to a new relocation. But yeah, they're working with some of our
They
folks.
are patrons up there. So.
Yeah, so very much so. Other questions?
What you're doing is a great service for our community,
Thank you.
really is.
We're very proud of who we serve, and it's fun to work with them. They're good folks.
In the very first leadership class, I toured Metzenbaum for the day, and I was unbelievably impressed at what you do there. It's really something to see.
Thanks. Anybody else? I try to keep it short. Thank you very, very much.
You, thanks for
Thanks,
coming.
Thank you.
Thanks again. See ya. Does anybody want any more candy before I leave?
Usually you make us work for it.
No, I just give it away now. Do you want some?
No, I'm good,
All
thanks.
right,
Thanks all.
Thank you.
have a good night.
You too.
Okay, we've got a couple ladies from the Colonial Life. Dan, you want to introduce here?
I'm Elizabeth.
Just
Yeah, just the one.
Laura's
Laura's
not
not
here.
here tonight. I'll give you a lowdown on who I am. I'm just gonna give the trustees, thank you very much for the information about what we're gonna present tonight. The first 2 pages are the executive summary. That one, if you wanna sit with your cell phone in the men's room and read for a long period of time. I just wanna start by saying, may Mr. May's memory be a blessing to those who cared for him. I'm sorry to hear about that. As far as Mr. Rice and the work he does, my son had a cleft lip when he was born, and so developmentally disabled folks like him, brilliant in every way, but it really delayed his speech, and the people that do work like Mr. Rice got him the speech help he needed, and now he's making 6 figures with cybersecurity analyst, so
Oh,
he's
that's great, Dan.
has a great life. So I got a little teary when Mr. Rice was talking. But I'm actually here from Colonial Life and Accident Company today. We already have a relationship with anybody in the public sector in Ohio because I'm the account manager for the OPERS Summer Life Insurance Opportunities. So for those of you who know who the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System is, Colonial has been with them for about 6 years, and from June to September, anyone who pays into OPERS that's actively working, and any elected officials, so 10 hours a week or more, or elected officials and up, can opt into additional life insurance for themselves, their spouses, and their children. And this is something that goes with them until they pass. But that's really not why I'm here today. That's just who I am. Again, Elizabeth Hauser with Colonial, and we talked to Dan as he was making the transition into the full role, right, Dan? Dan was kind enough to find us some time on the schedule, and Laura and I met with him. We had an opportunity to provide and maybe make use of some free benefits to all 13 full-time employees. I don't have my notes on whether that includes the trustees or if it's 13 plus the trustees. But nevertheless, 10 persons or more, you certainly qualify for free $10,000 accidental death and dismemberment. So you would add that to what you already have. It costs the trustees nothing, it costs the board nothing, costs the township nothing, it costs every employee nothing. It's a gift from Colonial. There is a wellness card, which I have a guy who loves numbers. He's a barber account of mine and saved $1,200 last year, and everything you can imagine, from eye vision for his grandchild who didn't have a vision plan, to universal tickets, to things at Walgreens. So that'll be given to every employee, free of charge. And then there's an HR Answers Now subscription that would probably go to Nancy and Dan. So if they have any questions about HR issues in the state of Ohio, it's state specific. Any documents they might need are already created. They don't have to reinvent HR wheels. And then that subscription is free to them. So what do we ask of the township? We just ask for the opportunity to sit with each employee, including each trustee, to talk about accident insurance and critical illness insurance with cancer. Those two policies are detailed. Again, those first 2 pages are just an executive summary, but in black and white, you can find details on these 2 programs. Accident insurance is a very inexpensive employee-paid benefit. Certainly, the township could pay for it if they wanted to, but we know our township's budgets are pretty limited. So if it is paid for by each employee, we ask that the township give the power to employees to say yay or nay. Things like a ambulance visit would garner them $200 just to check to their home. Or if they had a fracture, it could be several $100s. If they have a burn, a laceration, a torn cartilage, any number of accidents. It doesn't matter if it happens at work or at home. It pays directly to the employee or the elected official the same. So there's a schedule that comes out, and we have a base plan, a preferred, and a premier plan. Of course, I'm basing on everybody in this region. We'll probably go with the middle plan, but that's negotiable. And then finally, critical illness insurance also puts a flat dollar amount in the hands of each employee. The critical illness is for
AFib?
it's for heart. It's for heart. It's for major heart event. It's also for stroke. It's for renal failure. It's for the loss of some organ, and certainly any cardiovascular type events. We've added a cancer rider. So if you get a diagnosis of cancer, it's whatever dollar amount you've chosen that is within your budget to take out of your check. They're very inexpensive programs, and nobody wants to buy insurance until they don't have it. But if you go ahead and purchase the critical illness insurance with the cancer rider, it starts at $5,000. That just means you get diagnosed, here's a check. And we also have a subsequent diagnosis on that. So if you come back later and have another diagnosis, there's another check. So we're more educators than salespersons. I'm not a very good salesperson. I'm actually just a team leader of agents in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Although I love living in Playoff Square in downtown Cleveland, that's pretty nice out here. So maybe if I talk to enough townships and cities and counties, I can have a place out here in Chagrin Falls. I love it out here. So I'm married a Northeast Ohio boy. I'm from Columbus. I'm a convert for Northeast Ohio, and I've been here about 15 years. So those are just the 2 things we ask. If we could just sit with each employee for 15 or 20 minutes at their leisure, it could be over Zoom, it could be in person. Just let them know that these accident and critical illness insurance options are available. They cost nothing to the township whatsoever. You're basically saying yes to giving the power of that in the hands of yourselves and the employees to make those decisions. If we get the opportunity to sit with everybody, or 75% of everybody, on the front here, you'll see the qualified and complementary benefits. Those 3 benefits would be for everybody. So if I can use your room for an example, Michael, and you opted out of those 2 programs, you would still get the wellness card, and would still get the HR Answers Now, and you and every other person in the township would still get an additional $10,000 AD&D. So the $10,000 of AD&D for lose a limb, whether at work or at home, if you lose your sight, if you lose your hearing, that would go to you, and then in unfortunate case of any type of accidental death, that would go to your beneficiaries. Do you have any questions for me?
Sounds pretty straightforward.
I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, Mr. Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We have, for the service garage employees here, we have a short-term disability insurance.
Yes.
Way back before any of us were here, 3-man garage, and they picked us up in lieu of carrying sick days.
That makes sense.
we don't allow them to accrue very much. I'm like, I used to be really versed with this, but I'm not anymore. It's been a while. What do we carry, 20?
Sick days?
Yeah.
It's 160 hours max.
Do you pay for that as a
Hours.
township?
So 20 days, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, that comes, but it's annual. We
Yes.
don't allow those to carry over.
okay,
And over the years, you know, I've been working in and out of the garage here for the whole time I've been here. What if somebody has a heart attack? What if someone has a, you know, dislocated, or has to have a hip replacement? Or what, you know, what if all these things? So that's why we looked into it again, whether to allow those sick days to accrue or double down on this short-term disability policy.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. There were various reasons why we did that. And we haven't really addressed it since then. That goes back about 10 years now, I'm thinking.
and that's 3 of your 13 employees, right? What about
Well,
everybody?
no, we're at 5. We're 6 guys down.
6 guys on
Yeah,
there,
now we're at
so how do you
6.
protect the income of everybody else? So if everybody else, even if they have sick time, let's say they used it for something, and then they have an accident, they go skiing or
We
ATV.
we have rarely used that. I think it's been
Okay.
used, that I can remember, maybe 3 times.
Okay,
Don't know if that's something, if you offer.
absolutely we do. We didn't
All right.
include it because we kind of knew you had that at least in partial.
Yeah.
But that would be one of the, instead of just having them look at a quote, and we have benefits counselors, we don't have sales agents. They come in and talk about what your current benefits are, talk to each person privately. And so instead of just giving a quote and information about critical illness with cancer and accident, we would talk to them about a disability plan. And you would choose kind of which one you want to offer.
Yeah.
So we have a
I
long-term
would say
disability plan and we
before-
have a short, but our short goes for a year. Sorry.
Before we add anything, I think I would appreciate if, you know, you and I could talk at some point about seeing if what we have is adequate.
Absolutely.
If we're doing the right thing still. It's been a while since it's been reviewed.
And there's 3 ways to do it, and so one way, and we'll talk later, but one way to do it is it's paid for entirely by the township budget. The second way to do it is to have a benefit bank, so up to a certain amount, almost like a vending machine, here kiddo, you get $20 and buy what you want. And then the last one is employee paid. So we can talk about any number of combinations of what that might work, how that might work for you. But that's a pretty easy process to get those numbers to you and come back and talk about it, so.
Okay.
We'd be thrilled to be able to offer that, and then we'd want to talk to Mr. Kavanaugh about maybe how long you want that to look. We're owned by Unum, which is the largest benefits conglomerate in the world. They also have a long-term disability, which is longer than 24 months. So we could talk about what time we're talking about, how many days, you mentioned 20, and then we could go from there on quotes and get various numbers for the township. Would that be
Yeah,
okay?
I think it'd be
So when you
fine.
come up with the numbers, like the township were to pay, would each, is it amortized, would it come out with a lump that would be amortized over the number of employees? Or are you looking at, you know, everybody's, the age and all the other stuff?
It's a great question, thank you. So right now with Unum, we used to have to really kind of look at the whole group in detail. Now with Unum, we ask 4 questions on a spreadsheet that would come to you, which is basically date of birth, salary, name, I don't even know if we have a name, date of birth, there's 4 questions on there. And so it's not like it used to be where it would price you out because there's nothing on there. We're able to take an age range and really do quite a bit. In the past, disability plans were based on a lot of information about each individual person.
So then that would, so each individual person would have a different price based on that criteria?
No, I apologize. It would be all one price.
Based on that,
Based on that
okay, so they
coverage.
take all that information, they shake it up in a jar, and they come up to one number that's amortized over the,
Yeah, and luckily with Unum, that would be the product I would offer, because I can sell both to any public sector or private sector group. It's for 10 employees or more. And in that particular case, I mean, you're talking about a company that's a Fortune 500 conglomerate, so our risk leverage is pretty great. We have pretty good low numbers for programs of the future, just based on the fact that Colonia's been around for 84 years and we've been owned by Unum for a long time. So we definitely have the backing to get a really good price from the township.
just curious.
That's a great question.
There's a number of us that get a little long in the tooth here.
Me too, I'm getting
So,
there.
so one old guy with AFib throws the whole curve
No,
off, is what
no.
we're saying?
Yeah, what we're saying is we'll never know. See, I'm not gonna put that, Mr. how do I say that, McHugh?
McCune.
Eugene, we'd never put that on the form. And that's what's great about you, is that we just take the numbers. But you may be
Yeah,
familiar with
right.
the past, sometimes you had to get personal information about each person, that's usually how short-term disability worked. And we don't have to do that in a group plan anymore, so we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know if this applies to elected officials or not.
I don't know.
I would doubt it,
So
because
would I.
that seems like that's just
Actually,
a
so for
compensation.
OPERS, the summer life insurance is 10 hours or more and elected officials. And we are likely in a position to offer it to elected officials as well for these other 3 products. Usually elected officials are gonna be exempt from the hours per week, just based on the way you do your work. So that's true not just for the life insurance underwriting that we did for the entire state, 850,000 workers that pay at OPERS, but we're able to do that also for the short-term and long-term disability plan. So it would include the trustees as well.
Well, we can leave Gene on it.
Oh,
Gonna
sure.
throw a wrench in it, right, Gene? What other questions can I ask? Is there anything anybody else here employee-wise wants to know? I know we've got some good folks. I think we met on Zoom.
Yeah, we
You went
did.
to Dan's office. We can talk some other time about what's going on at the fire department. Would love to do that. So, I've taken a lot of your time. I hope I've answered your questions. Next steps is really to talk about offering also short-term disability and whether you want that quote for the trustees.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with comparing what you offer to what we've been getting for the last 14 years here, so yeah.
Well, I can get the
that.
question, want me to get the questionnaire to Dan and Nancy then?
Let's see, probably.
Okay.
Well, I don't know who else they have over there.
I'll forward it to both, yeah, I know how to find both of you, so I'll forward it to both of you. Yeah, I'll be happy to pull that together for you.
Thank
And I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity tonight, it was a real pleasure.
Thank you for
All
coming.
right, thanks. Everybody, anybody have a question?
care.
Okay, thanks so much.
There's a lot of Hausers in the area here. You're not related to anybody?
My husband, yeah, my Keller's my maiden. Hausers, there are a lot of Hausers, but they moved here from Joliet, Illinois, when my father-in-law
I
was,
graduated with a Hauser.
I think everybody graduated with a Hauser. There was about 13 kids in that one family.
well, most of the Hausers are big Catholic families, like the one I'm married to.
There you go.
So, I don't think I'm related unless you know Bob Hauser, who went to Case Western, born in Joliet, but he brought my husband's Hausers over here from Illinois, so. Can't tell I'm a genealogist, right? Good to meet you all. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Came from Joliet.
From Joliet?
Even ex-cons gotta live somewhere, right?
Yeah. I'll tell him you said that. Thanks, Michael. Take care.
Okay, we have 2 sets of minutes from the previous meeting. I wasn't here. We'll start with, he's gonna,
Probably the public hearing was.
No, one was the public hearing and one was the
public hearing.
meeting minutes.
That one looks, yeah, okay. Motion to approval?
So moved.
Second?
PJ,
I vote yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, for the regular meeting, had one correction here,
I had one in there also.
the first line.
No, mine was a little farther down.
Does that work for you, Gene? I
Yeah,
corrected it.
absolutely.
Okay, yeah. My correction was in there, so.
Okay, I'll look for a motion there then.
So moved.
Second?
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna do some scheduled reports, and we're gonna start with Mr. Frank Kitco, our zoning inspector.
First already.
Okay, you should all have a copy of activities for the month of April. We processed 15 applications. You can see they're pretty spread out. Believe it or not, we've issued 6 fence permits this year and 12 total accessory buildings, but 9 of them are a little smaller, or over, 200 square feet. The 2 commercial subleases, you may be interested in that. One of them is a brewery, so that'll make the 3rd brewery in town. And then there's a new plumbing store up in Gottschalk's the one at Bowshuck's Developments.
Is
They're going into existing buildings, they're not new
The
buildings.
brewery's over here.
Huh?
This one's over here.
Yeah,
This is the axe throwing brewery
the breweries
by
down
Sandwich King.
by Sandy King, yeah.
I think those go together, don't they, axe throwing and drinking?
Always has with me.
So, that's all about all I have.
You get called a lot.
That seems to be a big thing now, axe throwing. I don't know about the drinking, I just.
Yeah, don't forget pickleball either.
I was trying to
Oh,
explain
I
that,
know.
I was trying to explain it.
I never heard about pickleball till you brought it up at the trustee.
Oh my God,
Then I've
yeah,
seen it
residents call it
everywhere.
all the time, and, well, pickleball and drinking would probably go more than
I
axe
was trying to
throwing.
explain that axe throwing thing to my wife, and I said, everybody's doing it now.
I believe our neighbors to the west are considering pickleball, my son told me.
I'm telling you,
PJ, my youngest, she's done it 5 times. She
Pickleball.
loves it. No, axe
Oh,
throwing.
axe throwing?
One of
They-
my guys played it, he's in love with it. Stern.
Really?
Yeah, he loves it.
maybe we could combine axe throwing with pickleball.
I don't know if it's AFib friendly.
AFib friendly?
All right, any more questions for Mr. Kitco about zoning? Thank you, Frank. Emmerich Gordon is our Township Highway Superintendent. He's here to give a report.
Okay, Auburn Township Road Department report for April 2023. April saw no appreciable accumulation of snow that required plowing and or salting. The 2022-2023 ODOT contract has been satisfied with 1,800 tons of de-icing material purchased, received, and stacked in our salt dome. Currently, we have approximately 2,150 tons of rolled salt in inventory, and the new 2023-2024 ODOT resolution to participate has been submitted and accepted. So, in essence, what we have, the entirety of the 2022-23 contract in our dome, the 23-24 in our back pocket, 2 seasons worth of salt, as well as this was the first time we had to purchase a 10% less amount because we couldn't fit it in the dome yet. So that would be 1,800 tons that we did purchase of the 2,000, so we got our committed amount in. That being said, I believe I should hear within the next month or so from ODOT as far as what we're going to be paying and who took the bids and in what areas. So. Okay, there was one high wind event on April 1st, and Chief, you remember that one, I'm sure you did. Brought down tree limbs on several roads. Attention had to be given the Auburn Community Park Trail as 3 trees were suspended precariously over the walking path. We could not in any way foresee getting a crane unit in there or even a lift. We did take our Mini back through the trail there, and we do have the thumb, so we were able to grab it, pinch it, and slowly pull the trees off and cut as we go. So trails open back up, and we're all good to go there. So that's one of the things we got to think about servicing the trail in there, is the ability to get larger equipment in there when we have these large deadfalls, over the path there. So we were able to take care of it. Preliminary work for the paving of various roads is underway with the replacement of 2 large cross culvert pipes on Bridge Creek Trail, scheduled to begin the first week of May 2023. That was actually slated for today. I don't know if they moved it or not, but we
It's
uh,
gonna
have
be one at a
signage up
time,
there.
one at a time.
We're doing one at a time, correct, yeah. The 42-inch culvert will be replaced first by Great Line. Spot ditching and the removal of debris in the drainage infrastructure of scheduled roads has also begun and will continue until paving begins. I had a little bit of news this morning. PJ, I did talk to you about this. The engineer that has worked us over the course of the last 3 to 4 years gave me a call today. She has got another position she's seeking in Lake County, and she's stepping down. Her last day is
Yeah,
Thursday.
these guys know her, Rachel, she's coming to
Rachel,
pick up
yes.
paperwork on
Yes,
this afternoon.
Rachel
Yeah, she's
is
the-
now, as of Thursday, won't be Auburn's design and plan engineer. I know her brother works there, Peter, and I don't know if they're assigning him to Auburn or not, but we'll see. Unfortunately, it's happening at the beginning of construction. Well, actually, it's fortunate to be the beginning construction season.
Design is done. so,
Design is
yeah.
done, so primarily to be there to oversee the construction, in the process, so. And she did a wonderful job for us, she really did. I'm gonna tell you, Stafford Road project was her first reconstruction, and she pulled it off, and that was a toughie. That was
Yes, it was difficult.
coal patching was done on several roads as well as berm repair, and we'll continue to use coal patch as well as top mousse as we go. I think you have 4 holes left in the township, I do believe. So, with the passing of the resolution restricting engine brake use within the township, we have installed 10 of the 14 signs slated for county roads, and we'll have the balance installed in the next 2 weeks. I have noticed, my office is down there, and I don't know if anyone else has picked up on it. Mr. Glazer, have you heard the engine brakes?
It seems to have been reduced.
It should be greatly reduced. Right now, we have all of Auburn covered, Munna's covered, Washington covered to the west. We have to finish Bainbridge and Washington at the western border there. I have begun conversation with ODOT. ODOT's a totally different animal than the county. Once we get permission from them, we surrender the materials to the state, and then it will be only state route 44. They don't do anything on the interstate. And we'll ask if we can get permission there at the entrance of the township on both ends, so north and south. And that'll be the last, and that should hold all the county, all the major throughways will be covered with no engine brake. And Mr. Glazer, thank you for being so patient, but you know how bureaucracy works. You see our gentleman here. It's got a crawl. Sorry, guys. No, it took time to go through. We got it all. So. Yeah, I want you guys to remember to call the Jaga County Department on Aging to schedule your spot on senior trash pickup for June 1st and 2nd. We are holding it to 100 spots for qualifying township seniors. We have fielded several calls here and at my garage, and every year it's the same thing. We have the latecomers that said, I missed the 100 cutoff. And
What is the cutoff? The
100.
Okay, is there a date?
Yeah, there's a date. I don't have the date. It should be up there, right on the back there. I think the one thing that we have done in the past with the seniors that didn't make it, did we give them forgiveness at Adam Hall at all?
I think we did, yeah. We did.
Yeah, do we want to, as far as my conversations with the people that do call and get in contact with me, do I want to offer that to them? Because basically I'm just telling them we have senior large item day Saturday, and there is a small fee, 7 and 10.
Now, along those lines, we gotta do this, we generally put on some additional help for
Yes.
loading, sorting and everything else, because we sort this stuff out. We got a scrap, we got a steel dumpster that we get reimbursed for. These guys go, they go through everything pretty thoroughly. So, what was it, 4 or 5 guys we hired?
Actually, last year we just hired the 2. If I could do the 2 again, we'd be good. That was being Mr. Dietz and Mr.
Fred
Blowers.
Dietz and
Mr. Blowers, yeah.
Yeah.
Give Freddie something to do.
Again, with the senior pickup, they have to bring it to the driveway
They have to leave it outside of the house.
outside of the house.
It can be at the drive, in front of the garage, side door doesn't matter. But
What
we
kind
know-
of things do you take?
The list is there on the thing. What we don't take, I can tell you, is filled propane tanks with excess propane. No paints, no chemicals, no fertilizers, anything like that. We do accept batteries. We do accept tires. Tires we are limiting again, I believe, to 8.
Yes, there's a law.
Yeah, so.
And a couple windows taken out of my barn, replace
Windows
and take
are
those.
fine, but not your entire roof. Or the dressed out deer that's hanging in your barn
Or-
there.
Right, well, and if you went to Ohio State, you don't want to sit on a roof either.
Not in bulk anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure Nancy gets that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, we'll do
These
for the
additional
2 hires,
fellows,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's all I got for you guys.
Correct. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Emric. Anyone with any questions for Emric Gordon, Walling Roads?
Sure. Excuse me, I do have a question. Mr. Gordon, you mentioned removal of hazard trees along the park trail there. I'm just curious, is there
Yes.
any invasive management?
You have to speak up.
You mentioned hazard tree removal,
Yeah.
and I'm just curious, is there any invasive management going on in the park there as well?
We haven't had anyone come and contact us as far as any type of, any plants or trees that are growing there. There was an alert issued this year but not for Auburn Township though. Boy,
That moth,
what's that?
spotted lantern moth?
Not the lantern moth, it's a plant.
Oh,
That's growing, but we weren't scheduled for it, for any tracking or anything like that. As far as I know right now, up in the park there, I don't see anything that has moved in, or that, would take over. Primarily the fields itself, that we're not playing in right now, they are cut to keep the seeding down, any of those, plants and stuff that are growing there, so,
Okay, thank you. I'm in that line of work and I see it all over the place, that's why I asked.
Have you been up there, have you identified anything, or?
I have not, I haven't walked very far into the trail. I've been in the fields, but I would be curious to.
Yeah, but you're involved in the management aspect of controlling those species, or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, leave your card here, just.
yeah, I was just gonna say, could you please leave a
Yeah.
card here?
Oh, sure.
We've had foresters through here, not recently. Well, Gene, do you have somebody come through here when we did some more trees up here?
I don't think we had any.
But it's been a while, We did kind of do 15 years ago when we were acquiring these properties, including, we got a little woods up here too, behind that wall. We had some professionals walk through there. Maybe we're due again, yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. If you leave that, that'd be great.
Yeah, do me a favor, as well, my card's up there, grab one of my cards too.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
give me a shout.
Anybody else? Question for Emmerich? Thank you, Emmerich. Let's move into reports. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, just a couple of things. You guys might want to, I don't know how many calls you've gotten on the NOPEC issue.
I was gonna report on that.
Yeah, well, I've had a few, so.
Me too.
Having the information is handy because mostly older constituents that have been calling, and they're all pretty, understanding of what we were doing and what they had to do. And so I think most of them are just gonna not opt out and stay with the NOPEC. But surprised that that was starting to surface more this year. And just the second thing I wanted to go over is, if you remember, we had our $239,000 grant that we gave the fire department, and they got the AFG award. So I meet with the fire department once a month at their board of directors meeting, and they gave me kind of a breakdown of where the funds are going. So they got the SCBA, the air tanks, and they had $216,688 for that, and another $4,300 for additional. They bought the battery rescue tools, that was $90,772. They got the radios, $158,854.04. $800 for station alerting, $40,000 for turnout gear. That came out to a subtotal of $511,431.04. So with the AFG award, which was $275,6380, and the ARPA funding we gave them at the $239,689.87, which came out to a total of $510,253.67. So the balance is negative $1,700. So all the money is being spent on these projects, and or is in the process of being spent. So this is all items that the fire department needed, and they either had to they're going to have to take it out of their own funds, save it up, however. So this was all timely, and it really helped out. And part of with the COLA increases that we had, the biggest single expense of the fire department is personnel. So this helps to take some of that funds and allows us to keep our people paid appropriately. That was all I had.
Okay, what do you got, Gene?
Like Mike, I had several, 2, 3, 4 calls on the NOPEC thing, and again, once I told them what the township was doing, most agreed that's what they were gonna follow, but I also reminded them if they did wanna opt out, I think May 2nd, tomorrow, is the last day to opt out, so I made sure everybody knew what date they could opt out, but yeah, there's a general consensus that I think most of the township members are gonna stick with us. And
As I brought up to them, you know, that,
right,
you know, they can opt out and, then they have the choice of other
right.
people. Now, when you start giving people choices and lists of people to go to, they were pretty much good, yeah, we're gonna stay in it.
Yeah, NOPEC was pretty solidly the way to go for what,
Right.
15 years
At
there
least.
until the train wreck last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
And again, you know, they made good on that.
Yes, they did. They really kind of did. She took 2 calls today on that when I was, just this afternoon.
Well, for those that aren't happy, I mean, tomorrow's the important day if they're gonna opt out. That's all I have.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna finish Emmert's report a little bit here. We got the crack seal stuff. That's gonna be legally published on May 11th, and we're gonna open those June 5th. Once again, it's a road-by-road breakdown. We can edit as we so choose. Got my fingers crossed and knocking on wood that we did pretty well with this asphalt project, coming in as far under budget as we did. So we should be able to hit this pretty hard this year. This is something we always had to edit, lots of times for financial reasons.
Correct, that's why we
I
lined
hope
it.
we don't have to this
PJ,
year.
one thing I wanna note there is the bid opening, I believe, is at 4 PM, it's not at.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
the deadline's at 4.
4 PM,
We're
right.
gonna open them at
Okay,
7:35.
right, okay.
I'm gonna turn it over to Dan. I wanna mention the Middlefield loan. You know more about it than I do. For the truck, for Jetco.
Well, I'm still waiting to hear back from
She
Trustee Ryan.
she got the follow-up information as to
Yeah,
how we got the pricing. Okay. All right. I didn't know if you heard anything beyond that.
no.
Okay, so Dan Metzger is our fiscal officer.
All right, I processed 18 warrants and 1 electronic payment for $115,013.08. And I have 2 resolutions. One, this is for the county, this was for we voted on it last meeting. This is for the funds, the reallocation of funds. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that the following permanent reallocation of funds are necessary, and that's the $99,822.37. Interfund transfer from General Fund 1,000 to Special Levy Fire Fund 2191, and that was for the receipt of the insurance settlements for the storm damage back in 2018. That was never put into the correct fund. So this allows it to be reallocated. So I need a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
And the second resolution,
Good vote on that.
oh, I'm sorry. PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
All right, now resolution 2023-18, it's increased revenue and supplemental appropriations. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township that it be necessary to adopt the following. Now, $76,140 of that $99,000 that was moved is going to be appropriated to the Special Levy Fire Fund, capital outlay 2191-760-740, machinery, equipment, and furniture. And I have a check for that amount processed today. Then, the fire department also received a 2022 training grant. It was awarded from the state fire marshal, and that money came to us. It's $2,789, and that money was placed in the fire levy revenue, and it is appropriated $2,789 supplemental appropriation to the special levy fire fund, fire protection, 2191, 225.99 for other expenses for payment received from the state fire marshal 2022 training grant program. So that money's now been appropriated, and I have a check for that amount for the fire department. I need a motion.
On that resolution,
Yeah.
so moved.
Second.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and that's all I have.
Okay, moving into old business, Gene and Mike conducted the public hearing on zoning amendment 2023-01. I was absent 2 weeks ago. I did review that pretty thoroughly, though. It was 5 hours on airplanes. One thing that jumped out at me is the shooting range. And I fully am supportive of limiting outdoor shooting ranges in certain areas. There are certain properties that don't fit, the use is just not correct for them. I also support Second Amendment. I guess I talked with Dennis Bragansky, our commission member and planning commission member, and there was, I think, a 3 or 4-way loop with the assistant zoning inspector and David Dietrich, and consensus was to insert the word commercial in 2 different places under the definitions of recreation facilities. So I'm going to read what that paragraph, it's not very long, with the modification that I'm just going to suggest. Recreation facilities, public or privately owned commercial facilities designed and equipped for the conduct of indoor-outdoor sports and leisure time activities, which are open to the public for a fee or at no cost. However, such facilities shall not include a commercial outdoor shooting range for the purpose of shooting with firearms unless it is owned or operated by a public law enforcement agency or department. I think that tightens up a little bit as to where we're looking to limit. If somebody wants to have a shooting range on their 40 acres, we have no problem with that. But this is in a commercial area. And that was the hope, was to limit it to that. Something that may have to be readjusted to, or might have to be looked at again. Thoughts?
What do you think about that, Frank?
I have no problem with it. The biggest concern here is outdoor shooting facilities where you're bringing in the public, charging a fee, and going in commercial areas where may or not may. If you look at our commercial areas, except for the commercial area along the freeway, a lot of our commercial areas do butt up to residential.
Yes.
And that's the concern. We don't want, something straying. And it's hard, after doing a lot of research, both Jane and myself, and I think several members of the commission, the feeling is they're very hard to control. And when you start letting, the public in there, and it's one thing for shoot at home. We're not prohibiting that, but when you starting to have 30, 40 people show up and you're charging a fee and they're shooting, that's where the feeling was that we could get into trouble, so that's why we kind of want to limit it or prohibit it in the commercial areas.
I think the commercial is the key thing. Because, okay, you've got this commercial area, right across that is a residential, butting up against it. Now, if that particular residential property happens to have a family reunion, all of which 20 of them bring guns and they start shooting, that's fine, because it's not commercial,
Right.
okay? And they're not charging money for it. So I think those two distinctions are important in what we're trying not to do, because we're not stopping people from shooting on their own property, and nor can we.
No.
But it is kind of weird if you think about it, that you can have 20 people on the residential side shooting toward them, but, and again, on the commercial side, they can be on that side shooting too, as long as they're not charging money for it,
Right.
so.
So do you think with PJ instituting the word commercial, that,
I think that's a good idea, yes, I do.
okay?
I concur with that also. I think that's a logical addition, and
Do we need to send that back then to the,
No,
or can we just?
we
we
don't.
can
I
just
mean,
do
this is just, this is really just 2 additional words, so that's a modification. We gotta vote on this. Since the hearing's closed, we gotta vote within 20 days. So we,
Gotta vote.
yeah.
so we can just vote on it as modified.
And so with this modification, I'm gonna make a motion to approve amendment, where are we again here?
2023-01.
2023-01 with the just discussed modification under definitions of recreation facilities.
I'll second.
PJ,
Yes,
Gene,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
thank you for your help on this too, for no rush.
That's why I said, we're not gonna vote on it until he comes back, because he's a troublemaker.
Gilmore Security, smoke detectors,
They've been replaced.
they're done? Okay, good.
That was a pretty straightforward update.
Yeah, really, wow.
Lengthens out the agenda though, makes us look busy. Volunteer Firefighters Dependence Fund, is that correct? I got that right? All right, so for those of you that are walking in, we're having this little, it wasn't a meeting at all, but Mr. Keith Blazer has done the research as to, this is something we participated in since the beginning of the fire department, and fortunately, we've never had to make a claim or had any use for it.
Correct.
But the intention is to do it right. Keith looked into it and explained to us that we have to have a board set up now, which will include the 2 positions that we appointed at the organizational, which is Gene and I. And the fire department appoints 2, which is going to be,
Myself and Mr. Devlin.
okay. And then we have a member of the public to appoint at a later date. But I think to set up an organizational schedule of this, that we won't have to readjust because people change, I would make a motion to organize that board, soon to be filled out board, and for the chairman of that board to be the chairman of this board of trustees. So that's my motion.
I'll second.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
And along the same thought lines here, in order to not do this for personalities, but for positions, make a motion for the secretary of that board to be the secretary of the volunteer fire department.
I'll second.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, we're good. We gotta find that 5th member and we're underway.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Large item cleanup day is coming. June 3rd, 8 to 1. Gonna do the same thing at Adam Hall, loop around the parking lot. Dumpsters will be on the east side. Any reason to adjust this fee schedule?
Okay.
When was the last time you?
I don't think we ever have, but
I'd
then
like
again,
to-
some townships don't charge at all.
Yeah, we always charge something just to keep the riffraff out. I'd like to see it go up a little bit since, one is, we do have costs involved in this, and even if we're, and my recommendation be $10 per car, 15 per truck, it's still not gonna cover our costs. It should make it a lot easier for Dan to give change. You gotta show up with $1,000 at the ones just to give change, everybody comes through there.
Well, Mike's right, we do pay our guys up there, and the good thing is if you come in with a full-size truckload, you don't have to unload it, we do. So, I guess you got that. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I was thinking
10 and 15, right?
10 and 15 or 10 and 20.
15.
I think 15 to start. See how that goes.
Is that a motion?
It's a motion.
I'll second it.
BJ,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
who seconded?
Gene.
So, yeah, Dan, you're not gonna need nearly as many ones.
Okay, the Memorial Day agenda, everything's kind of been solidified with our participants. We're short a speaker yet, and I thought one fellow that's been coming and attending it for 20 years was gonna, intentionally gonna be our speaker this year. It chose this year to take a vacation, so Gene's pitched in, and I think we found one. We'll have a guest speaker, I can assure you of that. We will, it's 28th of May, we're gonna have another meeting between now and then. I think we're gonna do the maple shade thing at 8:45. They said there was too much downtime between that and the start. But other than that, everything's the same. Moving the donuts back to the museum since we get the museum back, because COVID's over, so I think that'll be nice. That's about that. That's about the agenda. You have any questions?
BJ, I have one thing. I had that highway use permit for you today on Nancy's desk. Did you sign that by any chance?
I don't believe I signed that today.
Oh, okay, all right. Mike, just to let you know, that's for the additional Welcome to Auburn sign on Bainbridge Road that we talked about over the course of the
Okay.
winter. So we're in the permit, we get that permit.
Yeah, I don't think, she had me sign a bunch of stuff with the internet.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
I don't think I signed that today.
Okay, yeah, if we could get that, by the next week or so. I already started a phone call with Rob Weigel up at the county, so, yeah, we're to tell them about what our desire is.
All right,
Very good.
yeah, I'm sure, I'll get to it the next day or two. Carl?
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. The speaker's off down here. I couldn't quite hear when you were talking about this change or an adjustment that was advised by public officials, I guess, up at Jogga County, in regards to this shooting range. And I would like to know how this would affect the Hunt Club, which is almost directly across the street from our house, where over years that we've been there, they've had a limited amount of shooting going on. Are we talking about, just what is this that you were talking about?
You want me to answer?
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah,
Carl, that's if a group wants to establish a new outdoor shooting shooting range in a commercial or where we allow public what is it, in the term, recreational facilities. It only goes with recreational facilities in a commercially zoned area. That's a pre-existing, so it doesn't affect them one way or the other. And that is also privately owned, or it's a private group. They don't charge a fee, and they don't open it to the public, right?
Well,
As far as-
to the best of my knowledge, they don't open it to the
No,
public.
as far as I know, I mean, when I investigated it, they don't open it to the public. It's just, it's a group that periodically comes out here and shoots. Not that often either, if I'm correct. It's not like every weekend or anything.
Right, you are correct.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that the way things are, seems, we've been there for the years that we
Right.
have, hasn't been an issue.
No.
And, but I just wanted to make sure that I understood what this new program was, and I thought I did, but
Okay.
Yeah, this amendment wouldn't apply to that whatsoever.
No, this doesn't apply to that at all. It's anything that's connected with, new and is connected with a recreational facility, which where those are allowed in the commercial areas only. Not in we don't allow them in residential areas, period, so, you know, that part of the township's still protected. It's the, you know, but the commercial area along East Washington Street, the commercial or the industrial area, which you happen to be part of or live next to, those areas are permitted as a recreational facility. So we don't, but because it abuts a residential district like Auburn Lakes and so forth and so on, we don't want a new outdoor shooting range there. That's all.
okay. Yes, thank you.
All right. Yep.
Thank you, Carl. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. You know, Gene might think of the ultimate motion then.
No, we're not yet, we're not done yet.
Yeah, so close.
Nice try. Okay, I received the franchise fees of $1,573.25 from CSC Holdings Altis. Make a motion to put those into the, where do I want to put that?
Land
Land
acquisition.
acquisition.
And improvements.
Yeah, okay,
I'll second
just want to make sure
that
we're
motion.
doing something different.
We do have two different flavors of agenda.
You usually get 2 or 3, don't
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
you? Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Okay, discuss practicing. One more thing, BJ. It was my impression that we were having this meeting so that we could get that fifth person in the board tonight. Are
You
we-
can if you want to, I mean, this here, we can get it, I have to
Is there
file,
any reason to drag this out and have to have another meeting to do this?
we do have to file with the state, okay?
Do we have to, does the four of us then appoint this fifth member?
Correct.
Do we have a victim volunteer?
I've got a neighbor who will do it unless you guys have somebody that.
What about Carl? Carl, would you like to sit on this board?
What board?
No.
All right,
Turn that speaker up.
It's
the-
the Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Fund Board. We belong to it ever since the fire company was instituted many, many years ago. They've changed some of the rules, and we need to just kind of tighten up how we're doing things. So we got Brian and myself who represent the fire company, Gene and PJ, which are gonna represent the township. We need not an uninterested, but we need a resident of the township, a voting resident, to serve as the fifth person on this board.
Meets once a year.
We meet once a year to cross the Ts and dot the Is. The only other time that we would meet would be in the event of a firefighter line of duty death or disability. And in that case, the board's job is to prepare and submit the application to the state to say we've had this issue.
Secretary Olivia.
Is there an opportunity to have a copy of what, if I were to assume this
Yes, I could get that to you. It's basically what the Ohio Revised Code says about there's about 6, 7 sections of the Ohio Revised Code. I can print that off and give that to you.
Yeah, so long as I know what
Yes.
it,
Entails.
what's requested of me.
It's $1,000 a year. No, just kidding. There's no money, so.
I understand, that's no problem. And it's a once-a-year meeting?
We have an
Texas
organizational meeting,
Roadhouse.
that's it. Yep.
I'll try it for a year.
We've got our fifth.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion then to appoint Carl Schneider as
Okay.
the,
One other question, do you remember what part of Ohio Revised Code it comes under?
146.0, starts at 146.01.
Okay,
It
thank you.
goes through like 146.11.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
okay, I'm gonna make that motion to appoint Carl Schneider as the 5th member of the public to the VFF board.
Okay.
Make sure it's on
Need a second for that.
Second.
Third,
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes,
Mike.
yes. Congratulations, Carl.
you're in, Carl.
Congratulations.
I have the minutes of like our
Thank you.
committee meeting typed up, so you have a copy of that for your
Okay.
record as well.
Okay.
Did you tell Carl the first meeting's at his house?
See, aren't you glad we did that? We don't have that hanging over our heads now.
I thank Carl for stepping up. Thank you, Carl.
Would you like to stand up and say a few words, Carl? Your acceptance speech?
Oh, I'd like to thank my mother and father. Just give me a copy of what I've been to do. Thanks for the opportunity.
Play him off the stage, play him off the stage.
Nominated, I won't.